The National People's Congress is China's biggest political event of the year, drawing almost 3,000 delegates from across China. One of the few occasions when all of China's leadership is on show. But the government's own advice is for people to avoid large public gatherings. That means this year's NPC is almost certain to be postponed, possibly delaying a key announcement on economic growth targets. China's President Xi Jinping says that getting the economy moving again while containing the spread of the virus remains his priority.
He has to tell the Chinese people something. You can choose total blackness or you can choose a sort of veneer of transparency. What we don't know, as with all governments, is what's happening behind closed doors, all those sorts of things. And more importantly, for transparency, what we don't know is that what's coming out in the media is something we can necessarily trust.
Ryan Manuel is an expert in China's public health system. He says the government's initial response to the outbreak in early January was correct.
It reacted very quickly. It found out what the virus was, it got a test for the virus, and then that period, 2 weeks afterwards, it reacted appallingly.
This past week, Chinese diplomats have been on the offensive, defending the expulsion of 3 foreign reporters and brushing aside international skepticism over the constant changes to China's testing criteria for the virus. But that criticism has been very selective, says one analyst.
They shout at the US and saying that the US making the virus worse and is discriminatory against China. But when nowadays Russia made a decision to close the border for all the Chinese nationals, they do not say a word.
It's not just the National People's Congress that's now in doubt. So too is a key economic conference known as the Bao Economic Forum, also held each year in March. If the National People's Congress is cancelled, then analysts say there's one thing guaranteed to be missing from the agenda when it does eventually convene: a call to hold China's leaders to account for this crisis. Adrian Brown, Al Jazeera, Hong Kong.